Hey craft nerds! So I've mentioned in a couple of videos about the goblin ball that I'll be going to in November, and I mentioned that I'll be making a necklace and obviously a costume as well for the goblin ball. I am starting with the necklace, and I thought I'd start a video and start to sort of take you guys with me as I start to plan out the necklace. Now, I already had planned to make a dark crystal necklace, as many of you would know, because I had bought this Augur pendant and I really loved it and wanted to make it into a big necklace. And then I got quite busy, didn't get a chance to start it, but it was definitely going to be a necklace that I was going to make. So I figured the perfect thing to do for this goblin ball, considering I wanted to make that necklace anyway, and I thought it would be great to wear one of my necklaces at the ball, I'll make the costume in line with the necklace. So I'm going to start with the necklace before designing the rest of the costume, and we'll see how that all goes. I'll show you guys the pendant in case you've forgotten. So this is the pendant, and so it's this really cool sculpture of Augur's face, and it was done by this lady at the Mythical Markets. I have a video on it if you want to have a look. She does amazing work. I'll put her details here so that if you want to have another look, definitely go and do that. I haven't actually looked for her work again because I know she didn't really have an online store, I don't think, at the time. But I love this pendant, and I could definitely see going back and getting additional things from her, whether it be components for jewelry or just other things that I love. So yeah, I knew when I got it, pretty soon after I got it, that I wanted to make something really special out of it, and not just have it as is. I definitely want to make a necklace from this. So I've been getting bits and pieces together for it. Again, you probably, if you've been watching me for a while, you will have seen, depending on what order I put these up in, you will have seen this pendant, which is that beautiful Swarovski crystal shard by Jean-Paul Gaultier and Swarovski, and I picked this up at the Craft and Quilt Fair, and it was about $32 or something, which, it's pricey, but I wanted just the perfect thing at the bottom of the necklace, and I bought a few like amethyst pieces and things, and I just wasn't entirely happy with them. They were okay, but they just didn't have the same bling factor that does. In fact, I'll get them out and I'll show you the other pieces that I bought originally to go in that, and you'll see what I mean. Yeah, so I searched around for a rough looking crystal shard that was sort of in the shape of the shard in the movie. And the closest thing I found was probably this arrowhead, and I mean, it is clearly an arrowhead really, but it sort of had that bottom shape of the shard. It also had the vibrancy I was after, so that was like possibly going to be at the bottom, but wasn't entirely happy with that. I did also get, I'll show you, I also got these amethyst sort of diamond shaped pieces, but they're very dark and they don't have the same vibrancy that I really wanted. I mean, they are nice and purple. If the light shines through them, they're not too bad, but not quite right. So, when you hold either of those up against this, it's just, they're not as good, like I don't know, in my opinion, they're not as good as this crystal, because like it just has that reflective quality that I wanted, the vibrancy that I wanted, you know. And even the shape, really, like that is pretty close to the shard shape. I actually do like that it has the indentations, because I may do some wire work around it. In fact, I'll probably do some wire work around it. So anyway, very happy with that. The other piece that I got for Aughra's face to sit on is this. Love, love, love this. So it's got that kind of titanium druzzy look to it. And I think it's going to look brilliant with it sitting on there. It just sort of peeks out. I'll see if I can show you. Like, it will peek out the sides a bit. I wish it was a little bigger, to be perfectly honest. And I mean, I could try taking Aughra's face off the backing, but I'm a little afraid to damage it. So I think I'm just going to go with that, and you know, I'm pretty happy with how that looks. I'll just try and glue it so that you get the most crystal on the outside of it as well. And to go along with that, I do have some other pieces that Jess at work made, and she's been working on some resin stuff, and I absolutely was over the moon with one of the little crystal cluster things that she made. So I asked if she could make a couple more that I could use in this necklace, and oh, they're brilliant. I mean, have a look at that. So just to compare to the one that I've shown in a previous video, this one's got more white in it, and then this one's much more purple. Perfect color. Another one. So she made another larger piece, which I love. And then this darker one as well, with sort of a clear kind of blue top to it. So reflective and beautiful. They're going to be lovely. She actually made a couple other things as well. There's this sort of reddy pink one, which could work. I don't know. I'll have to have a look. And then a couple of like faceted jewel cabs, which are fantastic. So I'm going to start planning out the necklace, and I'll show you guys a little bit in fast forward of me sort of planning out the first part of the necklace. It's going to be very similar to how I plan my collection. If I'm doing a big, you know, impactful detailed collar piece, I do tend to make sketches of them and work out, like, and do research behind it. I don't sort of launch into them usually. I do like to plan it out. And look, sometimes it takes on a life of its own, and you know, the planning ends up needing to be quite minimal, and you work out pretty quickly what you're going to do. So, you know, that's what I'll do for this one too. I have some sort of basic ideas, and I've printed off some pictures. So now I'm going to get my visual diary out and start putting together the diary and making some sketches. So let's get into it. So as usual, I do a heading. No reason, I just like to. I guess it gets my creative juices flowing before I get started with what I'm going to be designing. And this necklace is really special to me because it's something based on an artist that I love and a movie that I love. So I gathered a ton of images online from the movie and some sketches from Brian Froud to inspire me for the necklace. So I like to group the images usually. For this one I wanted to put all of the ones that were really to do with the symbology of the Great Conjunction together. It just helps me when I'm planning out something to sort of think of each concept and sort of group them in a way that helps me with the design itself. So you can see there's a lot of imagery that's very much related around the Great Conjunction, which is shown with the triangle in the circle and then the planets. So over the page I start putting some pictures of the observatory of Augurs, and then also some of the images of the mystics. And then finally some images of the Skeksis and their tower. So basically I decide I want to put Augur's face in the middle of the Great Conjunction symbology. When single shines the triple sun, what was sundered and undone shall be whole, the two made one, by Gelfling hand or else by none. Now, with the rest of the necklace, I'm going to put the planets of the observatory around the symbology of the of Augur and the triple sun. And maybe some of the crystals and things around that as well. Part of my idea for this whole costume and necklace is the joining of the two, the Skeksis and the mystics, like in the movie, because they are split apart into two different races from the one being. I want to show elements of each in the necklace. So my thought is I'll put on the top side of the necklace symbology that's more about the mystics, making it more rustic like their imagery, and then at the bottom I'll be putting more things like from the Skeksis, so a lot of darker colours, getting some of those black inky lines like in the tower. And even on their clothing and their bodies, all those sort of harsh but opulent looking lines. And I may do some wire work that allows the planets to be more three-dimensional and maybe even hovering above the beadwork. And of course at the bottom I'm going to have the shard. Alright, so I've got a pretty good idea of the design now, and now it's just a matter of fine-tuning that design, so I'll probably have a think about it off camera and, you know, maybe fine-tune it a bit and transfer the design onto some lacy stiff stuff and start, you know, placing components and things, the major components. And when it gets to that point, I'll try and film the process again so that you can see how I'm going about it. This is not so much for you to recreate because it's going to be quite a difficult one to recreate, plus the auger pendant is a one-off. But, you know, to show you where my inspiration is coming from and maybe help inspire you and show you like how I plan a piece out and like how it evolves. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time. Bye, craft nerds.